Who are we? We are the Philippine Retailers Association, the pulse and voice of Philippine retail, recognized as a national organization of retailers and suppliers in the country. The PRA membership represents nearly 80% of the retail industry, which counts all major players like SM, Robinsons, Ayala Malls, Rustan's, Araneta Center, Bench, Mercury Drug, Pen Shop, Wilcon Depot, and more. So why join PRA? It is our goal to get your business in the right track, and to make this possible, the PRA offers exclusive privileges that will surely add value to your membership. PRA members in good standing can enjoy exclusive discounts for their music licensing under PhilSCAP, which is required by the law in compliance with the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. As a pulse and voice of retail, we represent your interests on issues confronting the industry, such as bills on the further liberalization of the retail trade, music copyright issue, contractualization, use of thermal POS printers, price tag law, among others. As a member, you can take advantage of special rates and discounts for various educational programs and projects we regularly conduct to help you advance and develop your skills and competencies and help your business grow. There are seminars, conferences, and expos, high-level and exclusive meetings, which will give you infinite opportunities for the growth and development of your business. As part of our commitment to also help retailers in the regions have access to our educational programs, we conduct regional roadshows all over the country. The PRA also conducts a 2-day career expo, which seeks to generate continuous source of qualified candidates for various levels and positions in the retail business. It is strategically held in malls to help generate increased foot traffic and correspondingly help increase sales for the retailers. PRA members enjoy exclusive privileges through the PRA BizCard, a unique program which offers members exclusive discounts, special offers, and other offerings from associate members and other suppliers. At the same time, it also allows a business-to-business transaction between regular and associate members, which is mutually beneficial for both parties, where trust and loyalty can be established. And since we want to add more value to your membership, we are offering the PRA Premier Members Card, a rewards program to serve and incentivize all members who are actively participating in PRA events and programs. We encourage and recognize Filipino retailers who have epitomized the model of success in terms of growth and good ethical best practices through the Outstanding Filipino Retailers and Shopping Center of the Year Awards, or OFRC. To support members in their employee recognition programs, the PRA spearheaded the Retail Employees Day program for the Philippines, which is celebrated every December 12th. With the support of all members of the PRA, we recognize and celebrate retail employees for their role in the retail business. You have exclusive access to information and publications for industry development available in the PRA library. Through your membership in the PRA, we can help grow your network and access to local international networks through our affiliations with large influential business organizations locally and globally, like the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, the Federation of Asia-Pacific Retailers Association, the Federation of International Retail Associations, and the National Retail Federation, the world's largest retail organization. Such networks provide unlimited benefits of being connected to the local and global world of business and retail. So, who can be a member? All retailers in all formats, shopping centers, as well as suppliers of products and services to the retail industry are encouraged to join and be a part of the PRA community. How to become a PRA member? We have 3 types of membership to cater to your needs. There's a regular membership for those who are directly involved in the retail business. Associate membership for corporations or entities engaged in the business of supplying products or services to retailers. And chapter members who are any organized group of retailers doing business in the Philippines. Being a member of the PRA will give your company endless possibilities and opportunities to give your company what it needs to grow, expand, prosper, and become globally competitive. Because at PRA, our only business is helping your business grow.
honor, glory, and praise. With you, we can overcome every storm, including the global impact COVID-19 is having on our world. We pray to you, God of mercy, for all who are suffering directly and indirectly during this global pandemic. May you sustain, console, and heal them. We pray to you, God of grace, for all good efforts to rescue life and to maintain people's health. Thank you for the untiring dedication and hard work of our health workers and retail frontliners. May you strengthen, guide, and protect all, especially those who have committed to fight against this disease. We pray to you, God of righteousness, for justice to prevail. Give our leaders extra wisdom as they navigate this pandemic and economic uncertainty. Calm our fears. Fill us with your hope, joy, and peace as we continue to trust in you. Come, Lord Jesus, come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Understanding the Future of Philippine Fashion Retail, What's New and Now. I'm Mylene Aviva, the President of the Women's Business Council Philippines and the President and CEO of Felta Multimedia Incorporated. Today, we have fantastic speakers for all of you, and we know that we are all shoppers at one point, right? And we know that the apparel industry is really going to be able to learn a lot from our speakers about the digital marketing, as well as fintech, and also from our panelists today. And to start off our wonderful afternoon, we'd like to hear some words of inspiration. We'll start off with the chairperson of the Women's Business Council, Maria Montserrat Monet Interalde Hamlin.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Bright and happy Friday afternoon. We are delighted to be here as a partner of the Philippine Retailers Association on this, Mylene is right, exciting event because it's about fashion. And I don't know of any woman who is not interested in fashion. I'd like to thank as well Rosemary Ong, our newest member at the Women's Business Council, for bringing us together for this event. For everyone's knowledge, Women Biz will turn 25 years next year. We were given birth by the Department of Trade and Industry to serve as the voice of women for business as well as commerce, and to actually provide a platform so that they could have a deeper appreciation of what we women in business, whether we are women owners or women-led organizations, what issues we face, and also to gather all of this information to make proactive and helpful government policies for women empowerment. Why is this possible? You see, our members comprise of owners and executive women professionals of all sizes of business enterprises in many different industries. Our members are all empowered women. They're in the trenches of business. They know what's happening. They understand the challenges that they face, not just in business, but in the workplace. They can speak from experience and from the heart as to what we can all do together to promote women economic empowerment and needed accesses. Over the years, Women Biz has launched many projects that address the needs of women, especially access to market, access to finance, access to research, continuing education, network, science and technology, all of these. And we've also been representing the country in international fora. But one thing about our members, they have a wide network and a very deep understanding of the industries they are in. And because of this, whenever Women Biz has events, we draw on this knowledge, this gift that we have from our neighbor, from our members, no? And that's exactly what is happening here. We are going to be listening to many very excellent speakers who will talk about what are the things that are needed to be done so that businesses in the fashion retail industry can pivot successfully during this pandemic and post-pandemic. And we will be taking a special look at fintech to leverage digital commerce, digital marketing, social media, and all of the free online platforms that are there. So again, maraming salamat. We're all excited for this event. And then over to you, Mylene.
Thank you very much, Monette, and so proud of you to be chairperson of the Women's Business Council, leading us on, not just in fashion, in cooking as well, and of course here in learning. Thank you so much. Now let's hear from our member. She is also a member of the Women's Business Council, and she's also the president of the Philippine Retailers Association and the executive vice president and chief operating officer of Wilcon Depot. Let's welcome Rosemary B. Ong.
Thank you, Mylene. Thank you very much for the introduction. And also, Monette, hello. Thank you. Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, it's nice to have all of you. Um, Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 34th, actually the 34th VLS episode of the PRA. Thank you for tuning in and joining us today. We hope that our virtual learning series will give you and your business valuable inputs and insights that will help you navigate during these trying times. Rest assured that we are in PRA will continue to provide retailers these relevant learning sessions as we all work together towards recovery. Accordingly, let me take this opportunity to invite everyone on the upcoming Virtual National Retail Conference and Expo, or the NRCE, on August 12 to 13, 2021. Let us all reignite the retail industry this year as we launch the comeback of the NRCE through our virtual platform with the theme Retail Reboot. This year, we shall discover new ways and strategies and behaviors as we rewrite retail rules to achieve an innovative retail transformation. For the benefit of everyone, we were not able to hold the NRCE last year because of the pandemic. But for more details, how to join the conference and expo, you may contact the PRA Secretariat. And now, moving on. Um, um, Details will be flashed on screen later. This afternoon, we are pleased to present a VLS episode that will help retailers, especially in the fashion sector, use their digital commerce into their leverage. We have our partners from Women's Business Council Philippines, headed by our chairman, Monette Hamlin, and of course, my good friend, the president, Mylene Aviva, and the fashion retailer speakers who will discuss with us how to get your business online and use social media and other online platforms to reach your target market. We look forward to learn more today on today's topic. So with further ado, let's get on with today's episode. Again, thank you for joining us. May we all have a fruitful session this afternoon. Keep safe and take care.
Thank you so much, Rose. All right, we heard from Monette and we heard from Rose, those icons of leadership, passion, and dedication. All right, everything all in one. Thank you so much. And before we begin with our first speaker, I'd like to announce that please do stay because we have wonderful raffle prizes in store for you. We have Levi's towels. We have flasks from United Neon, and we have Lego watch and Lego clock from myself. That's from Lego. All right, and our first speaker. Well, throughout her career, Yang Yang has lent a lifelong passion for disruptive technology and social impact to building innovative products. Having taught herself to code at the age of 5, she continued her interest in computer science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology after co-founding a mobile app startup in Silicon Valley. Yang Yang continued as CMO of a global environmental tech company, reshaping its product portfolio to facilitate humanitarian initiatives with the UN Sustainable Development Goals Committee. In 2017, it was the potential of blockchain, so technology to revolutionize financial inclusion in emerging markets that led her to found the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, or PDAX. Today, she is excited to continue solving the same issues of financial inaccessibility as the managing director of Zendit, a rapidly growing fintech focused on Philippines for the first time. Broadcasting all the way from New York City, USA, let's welcome Ms. Yang Yang Zhang of Zendit.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here today. Thank you guys so much for having me. I think today what I really wanted to share was, my view coming from, as you kind of heard, mostly from the tech and fintech space, my view on the fashion industry today, especially, after this global pandemic. I am calling in from New York, so it's about 2 a.m. in case you're, anything's wrong on my side. That's probably the reason. I do have a very short presentation. If we're able to share a couple of slides. Otherwise, I can just go through it verbally. I think that screen sharing is currently disabled. Awesome. So if I may, I wanted to go through, one second. Let me try to find these slides.
Yang Yang is not only techie, but she's also fashionable as well. And she's now looking at her slides. It's 2 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, in New York.
Okay. I just found them, so hopefully this will kick off soon. Sorry, guys. Can you see this now? Yes.
Yes.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Definitely not a great look for being the tech person on this in this event, but hopefully this will go uphill from here. So basically, in terms of how we see Philippine fashion retail, obviously, it's an interesting balance being in tech as a woman. I think that, fashion is really important in a lot of different aspects, right? I think that it helps build confidence. It helps to, help us express our individuality. And in a lot of ways, I think that when people ask, how do you distinguish yourself as a woman in tech? I think in a lot of ways, I just always say that I never want to deny the fact that I am a woman, right? Like, I think I can be just as serious about tech as I am about picking out an outfit. And I think that that really is the magic of being able to kind of be accepting and holistic when we're evaluating our partners. So I think in terms of, what I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to kind of introduce myself, figure out, kind of my cross-section and my interest in the fashion industry today. I wanted to give an overview of how I see the industry, growing, ramping up, scaling in the Philippines as it stands today. And then I wanted to kind of talk about, what we think in terms of payment solutions. I think a lot of times we talk extensively about how to help retail companies scale. And I think a lot of that comes down to the potential of e-commerce, the potential of now contactless payments even on top of e-commerce. And then of course the ability for payment solutions like Sendit, but also many others in the market to be able to help retail scale. A little bit about me. I had a very scattered childhood, so super passionate about technology from day one. And I think this is where I really started to try to find that balance, right? I didn't want to go down the stereotypical path. I think that, I can kind of track my growth through, starting off being really, really techy as a kid. I started coding when I was 5. I, taught myself how to code all through, early childhood. That's me in the hula hoop, by the way, and the questionable fashion choices. I really wanted to kind of, explore STEM at a time in which there were very few women who were actually looking at computer science, particularly, at that age. When I went to MIT, I again tried to strike that very delicate balance. I was a cheerleader at a time in which many people didn't know that MIT had a football team, much less a cheer squad. We ended up, even competing. We did a ton of stuff, that was seen really atypical. And I feel like that really is ultimately the beauty of tech, right? That it kind of is universal, that people can be interested and leverage and use tech, despite that not having a ton of, not always being that cliched techie. And then finally, I kicked off my career in education and entrepreneurship. So I think that since then, I've always sort of been in the entrepreneurship world. As I think Mylene had mentioned in the introduction, I co-founded a mobile app startup in the Valley, after which I became the CMO of a publicly listed tech company. I came to the Philippines about 4 years ago on the back of all of those experiences. What mattered to me when I came to the Philippines was actually something really specific. I looked at the Philippines market as this kind of primordial soup of all of this opportunity and all of these abilities to scale very, very quickly. And I realized that no one had really built that underlying technology to make it happen. So I think that originally I looked at blockchain as potentially that infrastructure that was going to be able to lower the cost of remittances, make payments more efficient, revolutionize the way that people think about commerce in overall across all sorts of industries. But I think that, in time, what I realized is that maybe that is a little bit further of a dream. What matters is helping, businesses today, things as, core as, food and beverage, things as core as fashion. Everyone needs to eat, everyone needs to, put in an outfit every morning, scale in order to help the Philippines economy scale along with it. And so I think that's really the impetus that led me to join Zendit in 2019 as the managing director of its Philippines expansion. We were a regional payments company that actually had not had presence outside of Indonesia prior to that, except on the remittances side. And I was brought on really to kind of understand what products would be viable for the Philippines market, what the pain points were, what people were really kind of asking for and demanding, and then build a product suite around that. So I think today, Zendit has been around in this market for about a year and a half now. We launched last December. And through that time, we've actually looked through a lot of different industries, right? I think we've looked a lot at fintech, we've looked a lot at logistics. And I think that, we see that each one of these industries has, a set of requirements that are really, really consistent, but also by industry, there are these niche requirements that are really specific to what it is. So what I wanted to open with today was to kind of talk about what I saw as this niche requirements from the fashion industry currently, some stats on where I see it positioned today, and then to kind of zoom out a little bit and see how solutions that exist in the market can kind of help these very specific pain points that the fashion industry is experiencing. In terms of the state of the industry as a whole, the compounded annual growth rate is massive. I think 18% is very solid no matter what market we're in, and it's expected to hit almost $1 billion this year. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really think about. That it's really such a large part of the Philippines economy. I think that's something else that I find really interesting is that while a few years ago, this was definitely a much lower figure, especially given the cash economy of the Philippines, 14% of the revenues to be generated by the fashion industry today are actually expected to come through online sales. While I think, of course, some of these online sales are dominated by the giants, Lazada, Shopee, a lot of this also comes from these sort of grassroots e-com efforts. previously traditional businesses that have now decided to try to digitalize, open up new digital channels for their customers. And I think that's really symptomatic of the ability for this compounded annual growth rate to explode even further. If you look at markets like the US, New York, where I'm sitting today, almost every single store now tries to create an experiential experience in their physical outlets, because ultimately what they want to do is drive traffic to their overall operations, regardless of the channel. So there are stores, for example, like Gentle Monster, based in Korea, now all across the U.S., that basically do not expect you to purchase any of their items in the store. What they care about is that their stores become a place for you to explore all of their items, explore all of the stock, the portfolio, the inventory that they have, season upon season. But ultimately, they just hope that you'll be able to buy their products, even if you have to go home and think about it later. And I feel like that's really like that's really a revolution in the way that we perceive fashion and the way that we perceive this fashion supply chain overall. In terms of why digital transformation is so important, right? So why are all these fashion brands kind of reconsidering the entire experience of shopping? There's sort of these four key sort of pillars. The first is that a lot of shoppers now are going digital, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people didn't feel safe going out and going to a physical store and trying goods on, and maybe interacting with a lot of different people in the process. I think for a lot of us, me included, I used to really love the experience of going to the store and really picking something out in person. But I think that you're kind of forced to do what you have to do. And over the last year, I find that, I have done most of my shopping online. And I think that, especially as logistics companies actually improve their operations and returns become more and more efficient online, people are a lot more willing to take that risk and start jumping online. So in that really target market of 25 to 34-year-olds that, are these new early adopters, I think that age group accounts for more than 50% of online shopping. And if brands are trying to develop up and coming demographics and develop loyal customer bases, that's really the best kind of customer to target. Disposable income, along with the interest in shopping and the ability to kind of pay through online methods. The second is this adaptation to the new normal shopping experience. So of course, post-pandemic, I think a lot of people who have now gotten used to shopping online may never return to the brick and mortar stores. Or when they return to the brick and mortar stores, it's really just a chance for them to try on the outfit they were eyeing online just to see if it looks good, and then give themselves a couple more days to think about it before they pick it up online. So I think it's really a mindset shift, right? It's the ability to kind of think about, the digital acquisition of customers for fashion, which is, of course, a very concrete physical good. It's the ability to kind of, even use the stores in a very different way, while at the same time, potentially in the future, cutting down on overhead, because maybe there's no need to stock the stores with all the sizes immediately, especially if the online experience becomes a little bit more adopted. The third is improving value chain, right? So this is very tied to what I just said about, maybe not stocking everything in the store right away, kind of integrating this sort of digital shopping experience as part of that overall sort of end-to-end customer acquisition. And so I think in general, once you kind of move to that digital experience, you can digitize more and more processes in the supply chain, right? Again, it's really not having to have the full selection of sizes in store. It's the ability to digitize payment collection overall, so not having to do the reconciliation at the end of the day with physical collections. And of course, other operations that then can lead to lower costs overall. Everything from being able to book in bulk with logistics companies to being able to then conduct more and more promotional campaigns, but online. And then finally, this is of course just innovative ways of customer acquisition, right? A lot of times in the pre-pandemic world, the best form of customer acquisition is foot traffic. And so a lot of stores are being forced to take out expensive real estate in malls, in shopping centers where people would actually come and see their goods in person. But I think in this case, affiliate marketing, influencer marketing, social media ads, that becomes a lot more effective when you've opened up digital channels, because instead of telling someone, hey, I want to motivate you to get out of bed and put on some clothes and go to SMR and find my store and buy something. You can then just say, hey, you know what, just swipe up, click here, figure out, what you like online and send it to you immediately. So I think in that sense, it really, being able to digitize that fashion experience allows customer acquisition channels to expand as well. So I think in terms of, the best ways that we've seen our customers in particular digitize is, focusing a lot on the omnichannel experience, right? So I think now there are so many tools, Shopify, Wix, WooCommerce, that kind of help you build these online stores pretty easily, moving that entire shopping experience online, while at the same time using digital marketing to kind of complement that and bring in people to these digital marketplaces. The second is building on cashless payment options. One of the biggest reasons that fashion was hard to digitize, that a lot of times that experience is so transactional, so personally transactional, right? You go in, someone helps you, you try on something, and then you pay in cash at the end. Once the payment options are also cashless, it actually becomes a lot simpler. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, actually, I went through the typical phase of, going through my fitness, craze, nothing else to do at home. And I remember that in the very beginning, most of the vendors that I was trying to purchase, yoga leggings from would ask me to Instapay them. And towards the end of the pandemic, I noticed that more and more of them were moving to driving traffic to their websites or sending me a payment link so I can pay via Gcash. And I think that that's a really positive change as well, because it really makes the experience a lot more seamless for the customer. And ultimately, that's really the person you have to cater to in order to grow the business. And then finally, once once the fashion industry in general is digitized, there's this really interesting dynamic that can start to happen, right? Previously, when you're paying in cash, it's actually quite difficult to build this sort of loyalty program for fashion, right? A lot of times, if fashion is something that, we treat as, or retail in general is something that we treat as like a treat, like it's not something that like a boba shop can give out a loyalty card that you have punch, week on week or daily as you buy like a cup of boba every day. It's a little bit different, even for me, amid a shopaholic, I don't go to the same stores every single day. And so I think to build that same kind of loyalty via, let's say, a loyalty card is very difficult. But once someone is actually, paying online for a particular basket of goods, it's a lot easier to kind of see this consumer behavior, see the trends in the way that they purchase, and then provide these customized promotions, customized, personalized tools to kind of entice them to come back to the store. So I think examples of this is, for example, if you notice somebody is starting to purchase maternity clothing, for example, 9 months later, probably a good idea to start sending them some coupons for baby clothes. I think that in general, those types of marketing, those types of kind of loyalty building, brand building wouldn't exist unless we had the ability to digitize the fashion industry as a whole. So I think what I really wanted to kind of end with is describing what these payment solutions are. A lot of times what we hear from customers is that they really want to digitize. Maybe they've even set up, let's say, a WooCommerce shop or a Shopify shop. But ultimately, it's still really confusing to understand, the payment side of things. That Gcash is popular. How do we connect that? Do they have to go directly to Gcash and wait in a line of like 100 different merchants that also want to integrate to Gcash in order to offer Gcash on their Shopify store? How do they actually integrate and open up all these different payment options to their customer? Because of course, customers just want the easiest way to pay. And so I think this is where, for Zendit in particular, we focus very much on simplifying integration and making it really, really easy for people to go live. And so I think for us, we started in Indonesia. We've now customized it completely for the Philippines, working on the rest of Southeast Asia. But I think what we really emphasize over and over again, every market that we enter is really just, how do we make this integration process as easy as possible? How do we make it viable for someone who doesn't have a tech team, has never really worked with APIs or anything in the payment space before, to use our products? And I think what it comes down to is, one, being able to offer a lot of e-commerce integrations. So let's say the likes of Shopify, WooCommerce, Wix, but also at the same time, even being able to integrate into, let's say, accounting software, bookkeeping software, so that the entire sort of end-to-end process is really easy. To go back, I think that the reason that we feel like being a payments platform, whether it's Zender or whether you choose to explore other payments platforms, the core value proposition of that payment platform is to have done all those conversations for you. So essentially, it means that you don't have to go talk to Gcash and GrabPay and Paymaya. You come to a Zendit or you come to another provider and you ask to integrate at once and get all three of those e-wallets at the same time as you're getting credit cards, as you're getting bank transfers. And so I think in that sense, what is important when evaluating, payments is one, how easy is it going to be for you? Are you going to have to go out and hire a tech team in order to actually even make use of these payment channels? The second thing is how many channels and what channels does your customer care about? So for example, everyone thinks that they need, 100 different channels, right? But if your customer demographic is primarily using just e-wallets and banks, maybe you don't need to add, all of the pawn shops in the Philippines. I think that ultimately the customization ability of that payment gateway is also really important. And then finally, I think that the fraud aspect is really important. There is, of course, a huge push moving towards digital payments, moving towards further adoption of contactless payments over the last few months. However, I think the biggest thing holding this back, the biggest thing that would set back this movement and make consumers very risk averse when it comes to digital payments, and also the biggest thing that would be a struggle for customers to kind of get past, is this sense that digital payments are inherently a little bit less safe than non-digital payments. And so I think in a lot of ways, what's really important is to evaluate the fraud protection tools. Make sure that, one, as a merchant, you're protected from chargebacks. You're protected from, fraud, customers who will steal people's credit cards, purchase your goods, and then, of course, leaving you liable for damages that they've caused. So I think on that front, that's really what I think is the three dimensions you have to think about the most. So again, just to review, it's the number of channels, the ease of integration in terms of how much effort it takes to integrate, and then finally, the fraud tools that are involved and to make sure that each transaction is safe and that each customer feels safe transacting online with you. And so I think, at least on our front, our integration options, what we've tried to do to make this possible is to offer something called an invoice that, one, doesn't require a tech team, and two, includes all of our channels kind of right off the bat. And so I think for the more sophisticated merchants, of course, they integrate via APIs, which is, just this automated way of being able to integrate it directly into their website. For anyone else, it's just a checkout page that's managed completely on Zendit's side. And so I think for us, this is what we saw as what the market was demanding. I think there are a lot of payment providers that offer more, offer less. I think it's a deeply personal choice. I think we're always happy to have conversations, but I think it's a deeply personal choice to understand your customer. I think that, given the recent boom in e-wallets, given the recent boom in digital banking, I think it's a safe bet to say that, banking is really important. E-wallets is really important to offer. Credit cards is becoming more and more important to offer. But I think what's also important to consider is, will your customers want to finance things? Will your customers, for example, want a pay later or an installment solution because they're new to digital payments and they want to kind of, spread out that payment or spread out that risk over a couple of months? So I think in terms of, how we make it easy for people to integrate, this is really the interface that you would be using in terms of, being able to customize without having to do any programming. So the only customization is what you see here. You pick out your payment channels, you customize the theme and the color, and then you kind of use it as is. So I think what's, this is an example of how it's being used in the Shopify website. What I really think that is the most important is to make sure that all this functionality is available up front as soon as you integrate, without having to kind of do a ton of like customization work yourself in the future. The other thing is that, especially for newer merchants who actually just want to play around with digital payments without necessarily building a website, you can also investigate the concept of payment links, right? So just this short link that you see on screen, being able to send like a quick link to your customer in order for them to pay at the end of the transaction. So like a really actually great way that these links are being used today. In BGC, there is a cafe called Gallery by Shell. At the end of the meal, instead of actually handing you a check, they will send a Zendit payment link to you via Viber, and you can choose to pay that way. And so I think it's similar to, you know, even being able to do these little links to be able to streamline all of your payments in one place. Let's say, for example, even for a social seller online, my favorite, the fitness sellers, they would be able to then digitize their payments without having to even build a website at all. And then finally, something that, you know, we've been trying to kind of test the market for, and I think that, you know, I just wanted to showcase and make, you know, this audience aware of, is that the BIR is starting to allow electronic OR issuances. So what that means is that instead of having to write out the manual ORs each time, which is time consuming and also really frustrating if the customer loses it and wants another one, there's actually the ability to actually automate that receipt issuance now. So there is a product that we're building that, you know, allows you to do that. I'm sure there will be other products emerging as well in the future that allows you to kind of do a BIR recognized OR for your business and issue that to your customers, but also give them a digital copy so that if they lose it, they can just reprint it from their email rather than hounding you to write out a new OR. So finally, I think for us, you know, we are really excited to support the SME space here in the Philippines. I think that whether it's an SME or an enterprise, we are really excited to see this growth continue. I think obviously we see this enormous opportunity, particularly in the fashion industry, particularly, you know, as we start to digitize for the first time, explore these new channels for the first time, to see this new inflection point of growth. And so as part of that, we actually, if you do have any friends who are running SMEs here, whether in the fashion industry or beyond, we are actually sponsoring up to 1,000 businesses. So we'll waive the first 3.5 million pesos worth of transactions so that they can have the ability to kind of just experience digitalization without taking any risk on their payments. So super happy to take questions on this later. I think that I'm really, really excited to have, I think I'm really, really excited to kind of see this next boom. I've seen things from both sides of the pond, right? I've been in the Philippines for 4 years. I have been in the US, you know, prior to that for many decades I don't want to talk about. So when I see the difference between the two, it's really that omni-channel sales strategy in the US creates this very diversified retail experience. And I can see that, you know, the Philippines market is starting to kind of get there when I see the changes just over the last few years in terms of my own shopping experience here in the Philippines. And so I think that as, you know, customers become more and more digitally savvy, I think that will be a rapid rise in terms of new omnichannel strategies, new channels overall for selling, unique business models. And I think that really at the heart of it, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all business, right? The most important part is being able to efficiently collect payments and make sure that you are reconciling them well and making sure that you are accounting for all the inefficiencies that can exist in the process. So I'll leave it there. I'm super happy to take questions in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yang Yang. Actually, already have some questions here on the chat box, but we'll ask the questions later after the last speaker. So let's move on to our next speaker, who is a good friend of mine. Alpha Gracias Analiki is a learner and lover of life. She studied broadcast communications and practiced development communications, dipped on events management and direction, dabbled in creative writing and online publishing, and is in immersed accounts management, corporate external affairs, and marketing. For fashion, she worked with John Colburn and retail brands such as Frigo and Fresher as marketing manager. She is a certified professional marketer and have several certifications in the field of digital marketing. She is the 2021 to 2021 Executive Vice President of the Philippine Marketing Association and is the Director in charge of the National Marketing Conference and IPSUM, a country-focused marketing conference. She's the Chief Relations Officer of the United Neon Media Group, a media, marketing, and people development conglomerate of 11 companies with the purpose of making lives meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Alpha Gracias Alani.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Thank you for the invite, Mylene. I am really excited and a bit nervous because I am with empowered and amazing women. And of course, we have attendees from the PRA. So let me just share my slide. Can you please
Oh no, did we lose her?
I think we lost her.
Yes, Alpha will be back. She's having some internet issues. They just had a brownout about an hour ago, and hopefully her power will come on.
Maybe you can take the question.
Alpha? Yes. All right. Let's first. Okay, there's a question here in the chat box while we're waiting for Alpha to come back. There's a question here from Christine Yao. She's asking Yang Yang, do you suggest to have the same discount and offers across all e-commerce for Lazada, Shopee, and your own website? Oh, okay. Alpha, Yang Yang will answer this question and then we'll put you back on. Thank you. Yang Yang?
So I think in terms of the same discount and offers, it is an omnichannel strategy, right? So I think ultimately you have to decide whether the cost of using Lazada and Shopee, let's say the amount that they're taking in terms of sales, is worth the exposure that it gives you. So I think ultimately the biggest discount and offer should be given, of course, to the channel that you feel like will drive your future business the most. So I think, if you don't have the time to maintain your own website, do digital marketing to drive traffic there, maybe it makes sense to, offer the deepest discounts on Lazada and Shopee so you can compete against other, retailers in your category. If, however, you feel like Lazada and Shopee is just your tool for exposure, after which you really want to drive people organically towards your own website, your own brand presence elsewhere on the web, then I think the best discount should, of course, exist there on your website so that people who are coming from Lazada and Shopee, maybe then Googling your name after the fact, after they've been satisfied with a purchase, will find your website and then realize they would get a better discount there. So I think it ultimately really does come down to your sort of strategy across all the different channels that are available.
Thank you very much, Yang Yang. All right, we have Alpha is back and she has power and internet. Go ahead, Alpha, take it away. You're on mute, Alpha. Alpha, you're on mute. Okay, we can hear you, Alpha.
Okay, so you can hear me now. Great. So what I'm going to talk about is about Omni in the digital commerce. And really, when we talk about digital commerce, it has several things in the past year, most especially, that it is convenient, that we have better selection, and there are lower prices. And if you want to do discrete purchase, you can actually do that. It's accessible. It's actually given us a borderless space to shop. And of course, there's an option for cashless payments. And there are times that we get free shipping and surprise gifts from vendors. You know, the shift from nice to have, like nice to have social media channels, is now a must have. Experience transformed, and we are really moving into the digital transformation, although we should have done that 5 years ago. 2021 opens a new era of customer centricity. And it is highlighted by, of course, digitally savvy consumers, given, you know, regardless of generation, really. My mom used to actually shop via online as well. And so are my children, right? So we know that people will be consuming and shopping online. It is inevitable and it will always be there. So this is why we need to highlight digital marketing as a vehicle that will drive business growth. So let us look at what we are currently doing in the Philippines. I think we have yet to move into the omni-channel, although there are some industries and some retail fashion brands who have gotten into the omni-channel strategy. Typically, when you look at your multi-channel, it is just really being present in social. And most of the businesses in fashion have gone into like Lazada and Zalora, right? So what we're looking at is that what is the most viable product, right? It is something that would help us operationalize having a storefront, because people were not allowed to go out, and we still are confined at some, in a way, right? We only go out when necessary. And with an MVP also, you need to at least have a systems integration, like what Yang shared earlier. And that also involves us automating our workflow. So if before we all do manual, now we try to digitize all our forms. So really, when you look at how the industry in fashion is doing, the shift is really to make digital a high performance engine. And we need to take a closer look at the customers. When we say multi-channel e-commerce, it integrates native selling offsite to build direct buying paths in the places your audience spends their time. Social media platforms, as I mentioned, are creating their own commerce features. You know, there are a lot of mom and pops, and people have all become entrepreneurs just so they can have a living. And when we look at our customers, really, this is the most important, because after all, we get our lifeblood from our customers. We usually do all these things, like we do the demographics and the psychographics and the media consumption. This is how we do our profiling or our personas in the social media sphere. And this is how we craft our communications. But when we move further, because the mandate is for us to look into the business growth of our businesses, then we look at their buying patterns. And now we see surfers and lookers. We have researchers, focus customers, sales or discount buyers, and impulsive buyers. And of course, you have loyal customers. So when we look at surfers, these are your constant online browsers. They may not be looking at purchasing online, but may be influenced to check out items of some online stimulus. Are you that kind of a shopper? So when you categorize them, you would say that they are a potential buyer. So how do we stimulate them? We stimulate them by our social media promotions or through our own site with blogs or forums that can help them evaluate and form an opinion and be convinced to buy. When we look at researchers, these people are actually looking for a particular item. It can be, say, a V-neck cotton t-shirt or a V-neck organic cotton shirt. And they research on price, quality, the trustworthiness of the seller. They do a review, they check out how it will be shipped, they look at payment options, the delivery time, and others. Again, they are potential buyers. And to stop that research, we need to provide complete, easy to read so that they will convert. And sometimes it would help that you have a chat bot, be it on your web or your social media. It's as if they are talking to someone, right? And then you have your focus customers. They know exactly what they want to buy. So this may be your previous buyer, or they're looking for an alternate product in your shop. So they can be converted to loyal or advocates. So how to move them into purchase is to actually have a quick revert. If it is a shirt, show options right away, show similar designs, provide sizes and color availability that will lead them to check out easily. If they stopped and just added it to cart, automate an email or chat follow-up. And then we have the sales and discounts driven. These are the bargain hunters at an off-sale season, but we're not talking about the double-digit marketplace discount season. Well, but what we want to highlight here is that you need to offer them savings. You need to highlight how much are they saving when they get that purchase at an off season of the sale dates, right? So it's like value for value. Create a subscription maybe and give them an incentive for future purchase. And then you have your impulsive buyer. These are your surfer or researcher, but will purchase if the product is to their liking. I find myself being an impulsive buyer. And what helps me buy is that there's a clear, concise description of an item. It can be a multi-purpose piece of garment or a couple shirt at a discount or a family matching outfit. But you also need to think of convenience. After all, digital commerce should be convenient. And then you have loyal customers that make up 80% of your revenue, though they may be just 20% of your total number of customers. So this is your Pareto principle. Keep them by doing CRM practices, loyalty rewards, sneak peek of your upcoming products or sale items, offer them something on their birthday or special occasion discounts, and showcase their preferred designs and silhouettes. So, this is an important thing, that we understand who our customers are, and we'll get to know them through our fashion retail customer journey. So let me present to you first the physical customer journey. In the past, we go out and we have intention of buying. So we go out, we see a billboard, and then we go to our favorite mall. And you know that you have been exposed to a TV show where there's a celebrity who's endorsing a specific brand, or you browse in the salon and look at the magazine. And there's a word of mouth that this brand or this particular item is actually good. So there's an awareness. And then for you to consider, of course, in the past we do store visits. The beauty of it is that you get to feel, and try the product if it's good or not. Everything is all about in-store experience. There are some already who's doing AR with the digital labels. Like say, for example, when you go to healthy options and you're looking for a supplement and you don't know what it is, they have a kiosk there where you can actually check a particular supplement or a vitamin and what it is for. So apart from that, our assistant interact, we talk to friends, look at other stores. I'm sure most of us do that. You go to one store and you see these dress, you see this dress, right? And then you go to another store, so you window shop. And then you look for price comparisons, and you pretty much, that's how we try to do consideration. And then of course, when we go to the purchase, we have an interaction with the cashier. We pay via cash or credit, or we do self-checkout. With a physical customer journey, retention, really it's about return policy, loyalty cards, or ads and promotion. The thing is, it stops when the purchase stops. You don't have a data of your customer. You just know that they bought and that there's purchase for you. In terms of advocacy, you keep your clientele to be loyal because of word of mouth, or because you have given them a loyalty they're part of their loyalty program or loyalty. Of course, you also indulge them in physical events. In the digital space, the way that we do this, create awareness via search engine on items, right? As I mentioned earlier, we do search, right? And then you go through the digital magazines, and there's your SEO, and there are your influencer marketing. So it's not just about celebrities endorsing. We have micro influencers, and we see regular people endorsing things. And this is the beauty of digital. And there are digital events too. And of course, you create via social media. In terms of consideration, we look for bloggers. People browse websites for product description. That's why it's important that your own site would have very clear and concise description of every item that you have. And then people search for brand and reviews. But they also bounce to the other sites for comparison and social, and of course, when it comes to purchase, they buy online. Either the item will be for pickup or it will be delivered. For most of us who's been doing shopping, we know that there are items that you put a heart on, or a wish list, or you just put it in the cart. But you know that you will purchase that later on. And then there are payment options, and of course there are discount codes. For retention, we do email blasts, we do messaging via mobile, we do social media marketing, we do community building, we do ads and promotions on digital, we do digital events, and we do advocacies via social media competition, via user-generated content. You ask them to create a content for you. Say, for example, you have denims, and we know that a lot of people who are at home would be doing a lot of crafts, and you say, can you jazz up your jeans? I remember this. If you're from the same era, you know that you have jazzed up your jeans. And then, of course, there are digital events. The reason why we're saying that we are in the new era of customer centricity important to our customers through the data that we get from the dashboard reports of our social and this goes on to the full funnel. So a lot of you would be saying, or maybe asking, what's the best channel? From Statista, in the Philippines, YouTube is by far, not really by far, is the top one, you know, followed by Facebook, and then you have Facebook Messenger, and then Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Pinterest, and then Viber. But really, you just need to understand what is the purpose of your channel, who is your target market, and then from there you draw the data and analyze and profile your customers. But the important thing is that you have to drive traffic to your main digital commerce site. And then please converse to convert. It's not just pushing products, it's really having a conversation. As earlier mentioned too, that personalization is critical. And when I talk about chatbots, we have a chatbot under the Retail Gate company, and this is headed by Raf, who is also a mainstay of PRA, and he's giving this exclusive 20% off to the attendees of this event. So there, it's a fully customized chatbot. For charged capacity, you can do all things all at the same time, 10,000 simultaneous users, and it's cost efficient. In fact, when you think about it, it's just going to Starbucks, you know, with a coffee and a sandwich. So that's all it takes. So that's just a shameless plug. So in terms of digital experience trends, this is an avatar of me, right? And I'm sure some of you have done this, that you did your avatar via Facebook and you posted it on your timeline. But can you just imagine if you use an avatar and this is your brand, dressing them up? That is something, right? And then there's immersive AI and virtual reality, augmented reality, and a lot of live streaming is happening now. You know, recently I saw Dita, who does the, and she's doing live streaming. She did a trunk show. And I think this levels up the experience in a way, because you see that there's a bit of a fashion show. It's the designer herself doing the hosting, and she's introducing her products. It's very personalized, and I think that's a challenge for the fashion industry. Let me just show you an example, but let me check if I can. This is
Alexa, is it gonna rain?
Calendar.
Alexa, turn the lights off.
Okay. Alexa helps with thousands of things, and now she can help you look your best.
Alexa, take a photo.
Introducing Echo Look, a first-of-its-kind Echo with a hands-free camera. Echo Look takes photos using just your voice. Its built-in lighting and depth-sensing camera lets you blur the backgrounds to make sure your outfits pop, giving you clean, full-length photos that are easy to share with friends. Plus, get a live view or take videos to see yourself from every angle.
Alexa, take a video.
We've also created an easy way to get a second opinion. Introducing Style Check. It combines the best in machine learning on create a person wherever you go.
Alexa, what's my commute? The fastest route takes about 15 minutes.
Plus, Alexa is built in the cloud and always getting smarter, and so will Echo Look. Echo Look. Love your look every day.
So isn't that fantastic? Let me just, and here's another one. This is cute. I like this because I'm a sneaker person. So there. So those are examples, and there are so many that you can find on YouTube anyway. But let me just go through the 2021 digital marketing trends. Page speed will be more important. It's not about your internet connection, but it's really about the bandwidth that you use for your website. When we talk about content, it's not about the text length or the 200 words, but it's really about the relevance of your content. Think about video content, and also please consider audio content. There's not a lot of audio content, so it's not as saturated. And when we think of digital marketing, it's all about marginal gains. What we're saying is that you can't have one channel be the only game changer, for your business. Think of all the little gains that you have to contribute to a remarkable improvement. So it's incremental. When we talk about digital marketing and the content, you talk about repurposing and updating. It's the new norm. Why would you spend a lot of money on producing video content every week or every month when you can actually just repurpose them, right? And maybe you have a lot in the past that you can update. It's like saying, this was a collection in the year 19 in the 80s, and this is the latest that we have now. So it's like retro, but it's not really retro, so it's updated. So something like that. And then backlink won't matter much, but referring domains, meaning it has to be credible. And on-page topical relevance and quality backlinks would be more, is better. And, given all the brands on the web, online, it's very saturated, but really what you need to do, and my challenge to every retail fashion brand, is to use your brand and make sure that your digital asset is really ready for the next 10 years. So now and next, without the multi-channel, we can't have omni-channel retail strategy. But what it does really is that it connects all channels for a fully integrated shopping experience and a seamless transition across all platforms. And when we talk about omni-channel, it means that you're always on, you're always relevant, and you're always engaging. And this entails cooperation in the whole value chain in your operations. And it's the integration of your systems and platforms and applications. And it's all about personalization when you talk about engagement. So really, when we talk about digital transformation, such a big word, sometimes it can be too overwhelming, especially for companies who are kind of traditional in a way. But really, you just need to answer three questions. Who is your customer? Understand what you want to do. I'm sure they are open now because of what happened, and that's a silver lining. Companies are opening up to actually accepting that we need to do digital transformation and how to execute. And when you talk about digital transformation, it's not an IT strategy, but it is a commercial strategy because it's all about business growth. And when you talk about digital transformation, you talk about increased revenue, increased profit, and new business. Of customer centricity, really all about customer share. It's individualized. We want to be not as a mass market, but really as an individual. And when we do this, we build on our competitive edge as a brand. And when there's omnichannel, there's better customer experience. Therefore, there's higher retention. And with higher retention, there's increase in sales and engagement. And with that also, given that everything is increasing and there's a demand for your product, then there's an improved operational efficiency and lower cost. The operations would have to level up as well. And for finance, there's higher customer lifetime value. And there's, of course, loyalty. And with omnichannel, it would be easier for marketing, finance, IT, operations, even merchandising, even inventory management, because there's better data collection. You know what to produce. You know what would sell already. And you know who would be the target customer when you have an omni-channel strategy. But, when we think about the post-COVID scenario, it would really be a digital omni-channel plus a brick and mortar. Again, I think it has to start with a business, with a growth mindset and practice. And so pretty much when you talk about the mindset and the practice and the how to execute it, you have to think of people. Do you have the right people to take care of your omni-channel, right? You have to have a dedicated team for mid and long term. And then the processes, do you have processes that's able to complement, your digital omni-channel strategy, and then your digital transformation, and then what platforms do you have, and what would be the best platforms for you? And then do you have the right partners? Sometimes the challenge is, do we have to build it on our own? I mean, for example, because I don't have a fulfillment partner. There are needs that can think in order for us to go to the post-COVID scenario, mixing digital and physical work. So this is an example of how it's going to look like. This has been done many years back, but I guess when the shops open, we'll be seeing a lot more of it, hopefully.
navy blue. Yes. So that's it. Thank you so much. We'll be back some and I'll see you my.
Thank you so much, Alpha. I like the term. Now and the next is about always on, relevant, and engaging. And I really like the innovations that you have given us, shown to us, the omni-channel and the brick and mortar when the the shops start opening up. Thank you so much. Okay, please stay on as we will have the Q&A. We actually already have a few questions in the chat box, but we will answer them after our last speaker. Now, moving on, we will now hear from the members of PRA. Our first speaker is the marketing director of the Wedding Library, the country's leading wedding one-stop shop and bridal fair organizer. The Wedding Library was established in 1998 and has a shop in SM Mega Mall for over 20 years. They are selling wedding accessories, bridal shower items, and bridal accessories nationwide. Aside from this, they organize the Philippines' most well-attended bridal fair with over 13,000 attendees annually. At present, they have launched an online shop, www.weddinglibrary.com.ph, the Philippines' first bridal online shop, which is a wedding marketplace. Our speaker, Alex, Alex Natividad, is a second-generation manager of the Wedding Library. She specializes in digital marketing and brand strategy and is a Google Ads certified. On the side, she manages celebritygreetings.ph and does marketing consultation for brands who need to keep up in the digital age or age of social media. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Alexandra Natividad of the Wedding Library.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us here. We're so happy to be a part of this event. And as a business owner, I also learned a lot from our previous speakers. So I'm really happy that I got to listen to their talks. And we're happy that we get to share also our own personal experience in this COVID pandemic. It's really hard for us because we're in the wedding industry and, we're really one of the most affected in terms of having less events, lots of couples postponing their weddings, cutting it down. Syempre, we're in the wedding industry, so you want bigger events for, of course, bigger income also for us. But then we just want to share also our own personal experience and how we are managing being relevant online and keeping up the excitement of brides and couples in the Philippines, even if they have to postpone or scale down their weddings. Can I share my screen also? It's disabled lang. here. So I'm from the Wedding Library. So we are the leading wedding one-stop shop in the Philippines and also the biggest bridal fair organizer here in the country. So we started the brand in 1998 and we've been in SM Mega Mall for over 20 plus years already. So it's actually a legacy brand that my mother started and I'm now a second generation manager of the shop. I'll just show a quick video. So ever since before, we really focus on our retail shop because it's weddings and in the Philippines, weddings are very important. Like hindi siya pwedeng online lang. Gusto talaga ng mga brides, they go to our shop and look at the items specifically and make sure that they are in theme with their motif or their color scheme. So before our slogan was all the best under one roof. But now, of course, since everything's online, it's not that applicable already since not lots of people go exactly to the malls right now to shop, diba? Apart from that, we also have our event, which is our bridal fair. It's actually our main marketing vehicle as we promote our shop, which coincidentally is just beside the venue of our bridal fair in SM Mega Mall. And we also promote the Philippine wedding industry also because they're events. So it's really like a big event. We hire endorsers to promote it. I think around 13,000 people attend each year. It's one of the most highest attended events in the wedding industry. And it's really like a marketing boost for our retail shop. So from before, like we really focus and our expertise is really on personal experiences, like in our shop and our events. So with the COVID pandemic, it was really hard to adjust. We did like a couple of virtual efforts before. We have social media presence. We also had this augmented reality experience. And in front of our shop before, like 7 years ago. So we really try to adapt as much as possible and try to be at the forefront of the digital age in the wedding industry. But then again, it's really different now because brides and couples can't exactly go to our shop and we're not actually open every day now because, we're not a lot of clients would want to risk going to the mall just to buy a couple of things. So I want to focus now on our experience and how we adapted to the social media age and how, for me and for us, it's important to, as brands, to try to reach out to your customers in social media and in terms of creating proper content to engage your customers. So just a fun fact, actually Filipinos tops the world in terms of social media usage for the 6th year, I think this January 2021. So according to the study, Filipinos on the average are online for 4 hours and 15 minutes each day. So that's actually a lot longer compared to the second country, which is Colombia. And in terms of internet usage, there are a total of 110 million Filipinos in the country and 73.91 million are internet users. So we know like how much parang all the Filipinos are online. All of them are on their phones, ganyan. And everyone, diba, there's a free Facebook here because Facebook knows that sobrang dami talagang Filipinos ang nagsuscroll sa social media. That's why they capitalize on that. So on our end, what we did was we tried our best to transfer what we do offline to online. So with our bridal fair, going to a halt, our main marketing vehicle going to a halt because of the quarantine. What we did was we transferred our offline efforts to online. So we had an online bridal fair to increase the engagement of our social media pages and our website, and to gain awareness that the wedding library is now online and brides can actually shop now through our website and book through our social media pages. So what we did during that mini event was we tried to think, ano ba yung gusto ng mga brides? Why do they go to our store? Why do they go to the bridal fairs to buy items? And one of the things that we found out was they wanted first a personal experience. Alpha mentioned that a while ago. It's very important to have like a good personal experience, diba? Because customers want to feel special. They want to feel like personalized yung experience nila through your store. Especially in weddings, it's a very personal event for not just the couple, but for the entire family of the couple. So we wanted to bring that experience kahit na it's online. Apart from that, another thing that couples really wanted and really parang they really go to our fairs and to our store because of the promos. So online, kasi parang they think na it's harder to like haggle or it's harder to talk to people when it's online. So what we did was when we did the online bridal fair, we made sure that all the packages and all our products had a sale price. So they felt like, oh, parang what I experienced like in person on ground, I can also experience it safely and conveniently at home. Apart from that, on our social media pages, we made sure to create engaging but relevant content. So since the COVID pandemic, we're sure that all brands went online, all if not most, diba? Kasi wala naman tayong other choice but to post and to try to gain more online sales. Now, with that, we figured na everyone is posting online. And syempre, if you're a user, if you're a buyer, parang your social media use is parang inaagaw siya ng different brands. So what we made sure was to create engaging but relevant content para then our customers and our fans would want to engage with their brand and not just think that, oh, it's another brand posting something that's not really relevant to their needs. So what we did was, even if it's not necessarily income generating, we post, like, for example, things that we thought were relevant in terms of parang the concerns of a bride. So first, we posted like wedding talk. So should I take my husband's last name? It's one of the things that we researched na lots of brides are actually asking about if it's really necessary to take their husband's last name. So we had a discussion with that. We have our own community on Facebook where we posted that, and also on our Facebook and Instagram page. And apart from that, you know how weddings, halos lahat ng weddings ngayon, merong wedding hashtag where they combine the name of the bride and the groom, and then they use it during the event para when their guests post pictures, they use the hashtag. What we did was to make also the experience personalized. We posted a post on Facebook na if they need a wedding hashtag, we will be the ones to make it for them. So it's not really necessarily income generating because, we're going to create a wedding hashtag for them. But if they liked it, the wedding hashtag that we gave to them, they would remember our brand and they would remember to visit our online shop. Apart from that, we also created COVID relevant content on our social media. So na wedding related also, like for example, no kissing before the wedding. So we tried to make it also light and funny while also tackling what's really happening in the country. Apart from that, we make sure to create meaningful content for our customers and for our fans. So we did FB Live seminars. to tackle love in the time of COVID and marriage preparation amidst the COVID pandemic. So we invited experts. So these are all like free events for fans, but we know that it's relevant to them. And we didn't really push our items during the talk. We just wanted to, have good social media presence. Because for me, there's a difference between having consistent social media presence and having good social media presence. Kasi pwedeng you're a brand and you post every day, but then yung reach mo is like 10, 100, ganun lang. So iba rin talaga if with intent and with meaning yung posts of your social media pages. Apart from that, since I'm a second generation manager of the wedding library, it was really hard to, try to adapt because syempre we had also different perspectives in terms of what's nice on picture or what we need to do online. At first, before the COVID pandemic, you can see the picture on the left. That's our product photo. We still use this, but parang at first kasi we thought that was okay na. Like, I will just use it para the products have photos online, people can see it, ganyan, and then they will buy it. But then right now, kasi since our brides can't really go to our store and see the items in person. And then with the rise also of, the importance of having Instagrammable photos online and, when during weddings, like very important na maraming Instagrammable photos that the couple will post after their wedding, ganyan. So what we did was we had a photo shoot also recently na hindi siya basta like just to showcase the product, but also to give it a little more like style so that the couple or the bride will be excited to buy it even if she just saw it online. So it's from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. Apart from that, we also leveraged on our presence in online marketplaces. So we're also visible on Shopee and on Lazada. But we also have our own online storefront, which is www.weddinglibrary.com.ph, where we hold all our items. And eventually, we're in the process of actually making it into an online marketplace where we also feature other wedding suppliers in the Philippines. Yeah, just a preview of our online shop, which is actually functioning now, right? Actually, it's operating under Shopify, which actually is a big advantage for us. Because since we're a legacy brand, medyo old school yung inventory, medyo old school yung when you go to our physical shop, that it's been there for a long time. But because of the transition in the COVID pandemic, we were actually able to also update our inventory and make it automated because we have now an online storefront. So here's just a quick teaser video of our online store.
Every bride's go-to for all things wedding. Shop now at www.weddinglibrary.com.ph.
So yeah, from all the best under one roof to every bride's go-to for all things wedding. That's how we transitioned from pre-COVID pandemic to now. And what we realized after what happened was to really focus on social media and on our online presence, because I think this pandemic is really like a turning point for all of us. And in a sense, it's also a blessing in disguise because a lot of companies were able to transition, like us, transition fast in terms of having good online presence, which is also very important because of the rise of social media. And I'd love to share more about our brand and our journey through the questions later. So yeah, thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. All right. Okay, from the wedding library, let's now move on to our last speaker. Kat Costas, our last speaker, is the country marketing manager of the iconic jeans brand Levi's. Who doesn't have a Levi's? We all have Levi's. With over 15 years of experience in marketing and communications, Kat is responsible for the brand building and digital transformation of Levi's in the Philippines. Her local campaign, Braille, not only went viral, but the campaign also resulted in an increase in sales and brand loyalty, winning in local and international creative and effectiveness award shows. Kat has received the distinction of being a Levi's Global Excellence Awardee. Let's now welcome Kat Costas, Country Manager, Marketing Manager of Levi Strauss Philippines.
Hello, hi everyone. So thank you for having me this afternoon. And I think thank you to PRA and for Women's Biz for learning opportunities like this. I know it's such a challenging year, the past year, and it's always nice that learning modules or training stuff like this can be made more accessible to everyone. So let me lift my slides. Okay, give me a few minutes. There we go. All right, so I'll be sharing with you Levi's journey in the past year. So this is taking on the challenges, the transformations that have been happening, the disruptions amid this pandemic. So it's forced us to really shift, pivot our business. And I think I'll be echoing a lot of what the three presenters have already talked about, but putting it in the lens of Levi. So in the lens of a denim leader and the lens of fashion. So let me start off by painting a picture or the context of where the Levi's brand was pre-COVID and then now as we're experiencing 1 year into the pandemic already. So pre-COVID was our highest growth year. If you talk about our geo milestones, Philippine market had the highest growth. That's in terms of markets such as Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and Pakistan. We also opened 10 retail stores in 2019. And as mentioned in the introduction, we did receive a lot of local and international awards for our holiday film. So technically, we ended 2019 really pent up, so excited for the next decade to come. You hear 2020, it just really sounds very positive for the next 10 years. So we already set ourselves up for success for the succeeding years to come. However, as the meme says, things change. So I think this actually describes how I felt at the onset of the pandemic. So we see that apparel was, and I think continues to be one of the hardest hit sectors. So from the onset of the pandemic, we already had lockdown. So all our stores had to, were forced to close. Even recently, as of March, our stores in the NCR Plus bubble again had to close. So it became very difficult for us. We saw that pandemic hit the weaker brands a little bit harder. No? So you see brands like Topshop, G-Star, Esprit having to close down their stores completely. So it became such a challenge to everyone. So I think how we move forward really was asking ourselves, how can Levi's remain brand relevant despite this ever-changing environment, or what we now call like a new normal? So we know that now our stores have already reopened for a second time. However, I guess we all feel it's slightly different. No, it's not like before when we go to mall, meet up with friends. Everything's a little more conscious going to the mall. You really think about it before you going there. You take extra precautions, and a lot of people are still really very cautious, would rather stay home than go out. But I think what's looking good for the country though is we're seeing government LGUs ramping up their vaccine rollout. So hopefully in Q3, Q4, we can be a little more optimistic, especially as we're going already into the critical business period, which is holiday shopping. So before we go into that, I think the first step that we need to do is to put our consumer at the center, what I see. So at the center is not just, for me, I'm marketing department. It's not just talking about our audience, but really looking at the consumer from a merch perspective, from brand experience, even how we design our product. So above all else, it must be everything we do for the consumer. What are their needs, understand what their behaviors. And we see that the pandemic has created new normals or shifted their behavior. So the first step to putting consumer first is understanding these shifts. So this slide actually shows us the new normal shifts. No? So we're trying to understand what has changed. I think I'm echoing what the other presenters have already said. No, there is a rise in digital. So there's been a digital acceleration faster than ever before. I know Facebook has called out we were supposed to be experiencing this kind of acceleration in 5 years. And what happened? It happened in just a few months now. So there's that adoption of digital channels, processes, which have skyrocketed and blended with both our physical world. So now there's a deeper connection of offline and online. We also see that there is more importance on this new consumer that we have. So it's both the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha. And what do we know about them? They're more optimistic. So they feel that they'll be coming out of this pandemic stronger, wiser. And we're seeing that they have a strong purchasing power, especially the Gen Zs who have now entered the workforce. So funny, diba? For quite some time, we were talking about millennials, and now it's really a new generation of shoppers already. And then third, we talk about security and safety first. So here, consumers find reassurance in brands that they know and trust. So I guess it comes with, diba, there's economic crisis. So with the tight budget that you have now, diba, you have to really spend wisely and spend in brands that are iconic, have already established themselves. But again, that's not saying that consumers aren't open to explore new brands. As long as the brand is able to deliver, then you will always have consumer there. Fourth would be on the value mindset. So we know that economic fears lead to cautious spending. So that's why I think, as mentioned earlier, diba, fashion is one of the hard-hit categories. That's because there is now more focus on essentials, so food, health is very important. You even see people now more and more taking care of themselves, their homes, their families. So fashion has been deprioritized for the moment. Again, I'm not saying it won't come back. So I'll take you through that a little more later. Fifth, a better society. So this one is something I am really excited about. So there is a raised awareness and expectations on company social responsibility. And one part of that is redefining sustainability. So now I think people were able to connect that there is an impact with what we do to the environment. So now there's more conscious decision making in terms of how do we help the environment, how can we reduce waste, and how do we call on different companies to rally behind that. So you see a lot of companies really going into less plastic, more sustainable products, and things like that. And then last, I think echoing, again, Alpha mentioned this earlier, Alex also did, experience will be key. So for connection, the past, year and a few months, we've just been cooped up at home. Usually it's just with your small circle of family, very limited social connection. And as humans, but more specifically, Filipinos are very social in nature. So imagine the moment things get better, there will be that craving or yearning for social connection. And that's something that brands can do. How do we give now new experiences to our consumers? So here is how we address those changing shifts. So first, for Levi's, we became a brand-led brand. No? So what does this mean? So how we did this, we created deeper connections with our fans. So I have here like some examples of how this was translated into marketing. No? So last year, during the start of the pandemic, I think this was around May, so we saw that a lot of people were home, really bored, nothing to do. So we wanted to uplift them. We knew that they were really looking for some fun, for some brightness that they can do at home. So we activated the 501 Live series. And then through this event, we asked different local artists to give performances. So you have here like Quest, we had Reese Lansangan, we had Clara Benin, give online a virtual concert online. And then we partnered with them so that the audience could also donate to their chosen charity. So again, it's giving back. Second, we activated more than ever our loyalty program, what we call the Levi's VIP Club. So in the past year, we've already reached over 200,000 members. So again, it's a way for us to connect more regularly, connect deeply with our consumers, following their life cycle journey with the brand. And we know that we wanted also to tap the younger generation. So again, the Gen Zs, Gen Alphas. So we increased exposure, definitely even prior to the pandemic. We were already at Instagram, at Facebook, but we saw that during the pandemic, there was a heightened increase for penetration of TikTok. Everyone was using TikTok, showing different dance moves, showing DIY, showing even cooking, their cooking skills. So that's something that we wanted to enter as well. So we were able to connect with Gen Zs by now going into TikTok. And then we also reached our consumers definitely through products. And it's not just the Levi's brand, but also with our partnerships. So one high energy partnership you have here, we had this year was Pokemon. But looking at last year, we also partnered with Nintendo for Mario's anniversary. We partnered with New Balance, with Snoopy, and with Disney. So there was always something exciting for consumers to connect and to engage with us. And then secondly, related to brand is knowing your purpose and activating this. So we see, I mentioned earlier, diba? There is expectation now from consumer towards the brands. They're asking brands to be accountable for what they stand for. It can't just be like a marketing strategy. It has to be a whole business strategy. And I think consumers are really smart now, no? So they can tell if you're just trying to sell them a product versus really standing for what you believe in and standing for your values. So for Levi's, we lean into values on empathy. There's a question in the chat about empathy. We lean into courage, inclusivity, equality. So in the scope of the pandemic, some things that we did locally, we partnered with local tailors who lost their livelihood. So usually, diba, pag, when you have a promo, there's a premium item. I mean, for big brands, usually the first step would be, let's order something from China. It's cheaper. But during the pandemic, I felt that we had to support our local community who needed us more. So instead of buying from China, what we did was we partnered with local unemployed tailors and had them create upcycled bucket hats, upcycled bags from old or very worn out denim from our consumers. Second, I mentioned earlier, diba, we had like the Levi's VIP Club. So we use the loyalty club to empower our consumers to be able to make a difference, to act and donate. Because sometimes that's the problem, diba? People really want to help, but they don't know how. So through the loyalty program, they earn points. And then from these points, we ask them if you can donate it instead to UNICEF. So for this program, we were able to achieve over 600,000 pesos that was donated to UNICEF. And this was used to support people, especially kids who were affected by the pandemic. And another value that's close to Levi's heart is on sustainability. This one, we've started this long ago, creating technologies on waterless. So that was 2009 when we started our waterless technology. And then it allows us to produce our jeans using less water. And then from then on, like last year, we also introduced cottonized hemp. So cottonized hemp is some material as soft as water, as easy to create clothes as water. However, uses as cotton, but uses less water in the production. And it also grows anywhere. So again, it makes it easier for us to set up also our factories. I'll show you here. This was our latest marketing campaign. It was launched recently, last month, April Earth Day. So here we partnered with global, what we call change makers who are into sustainability, environmentalists, and really standing behind sustainability. So let me play the video.
Global clothing consumption has doubled in the last 15 years. We can change that.
When we make better, we can buy better. And when we buy better, we can wear it longer.
We wear it longer, we can buy less.
When we buy less, we can waste less.
And when we waste less, we can change for good.
So we're recognizing the impact of the fashion industry and environment, and we're doing something about it. And we're calling others to join us in our message of buying better and wearing longer. So these are actually just 3 examples. There's so much more that I can go through later if you want to learn more about our values campaign when we do our Q&A. So what we're saying is, for us, we really believe strongly with regards to profit through our principles, no? So it's really standing behind the principles. We're growing and we're giving back at the same time. It can't just be we're growing for ourselves. Really, we're trying to grow and it's giving it back to the communities. So second, where we're playing at, it's direct to consumer first. So what I mean about this is we're prioritizing efforts to connect directly with consumers. So one of them would really be accelerating our digital transformation and making the brand more accessible through online shopping. So DTC equals being where they want to shop, being when they want to shop. So here, I think what we did last year, 2 things. So to the left, we built our next gen store. So this is actually the first next gen store of Levi's in Southeast Asia. And what differentiates this format from our previous stores, it's more experiential, it's digital. You have the tailor shop there, you know. So again, it's a good experience to go to when you visit the store. And then secondly, we also introduced levi.com.ph. Very timely for us, actually. We launched levi.com March 1. And then the lockdown happened March 16. So it was a good place that we were already building our digital capabilities prior to the pandemic. So here we saw that in 2020, levi.com grew substantially, almost 200% in just a few months. We also want to create simpler shopping experiences for the consumer. So I have here 3 examples. Again, I saw in the comments, there was a question on chatbot. So for us, yes, we created the chatbot last year, again, because as we were just entering into online shopping, we wanted to create or to mimic that in-store or the experience you get when you're shopping in a physical store of Levi's, no? So when you're online, there's no one to talk to there. You don't have like the staff there to assist you. So we felt that the chatbot will help us, no? So when you go into our chatbot, this is on Facebook. If you browse through it now, what you'll see is there will be like a virtual stylist there to assist you. And then the virtual stylist will like ask you, what's your body type, what's your fashion stance, and really recommend different kinds of outfits for you and drive you to levi.com. So this has worked for us in terms of driving more people to our brand site, because that will always be a challenge with setting up a new brand site. How do you drive people there? So another way that we hasten the connection of brand to consumer is through Viber. So we empowered our store staff with Viber. So through Viber, they were able to connect with their customers, no, showing them, oh, this is what's new at the Levi's store now. Oh, this is our promo. You want to check it out? So it allowed for immediate engagement, and we felt that, parang we had to shorten the gap between consumers and their parang discovery phase or their browsing phase. Because unlike before, I think the experience that we lost due to the pandemic is window shopping. Yung favorite natin yan, going to the mall, just checking out everything, looking at all the stores, touching, feeling. So with people scared to do that, we had to bring the store to them. So that's what Viber did for us. And then another thing that Levi's is known for, no, is our tailor shop. So our customization and personalization experiences. And we know during the holiday season, this has been the go-to, one of the go-to gifts now of people. It's very personal, it's very unique, diba? It's an emotional gift. So we didn't want the pandemic to stop us. So we recreated the tailor shop and print shop experiences online, especially for the holiday season. So this opened up new opportunities for us because before we were very limited, diba, in terms of the tailor shop being available in just 4 stores. Or when we do pop-up events, it becomes also costly to set up a pop-up tailor shop. So having it available online broadened our audience, because now wherever you are, you can shop online and get a tailor shop or a personalized item from Levi's. And then third, last that we did in terms of strategy was to diversify. So my definition for diversification was in terms of the channel, in terms of the categories that we were present in. So one of them siguro would be, we saw that there was opportunity with the women's business. So we know that for Levi's, primarily it's more of a men's business. No, more men go to Levi's for jeans, for tops. But we see opportunity with the growing women's business. So women's is already 30% with Levi's, and in terms of growth, showing a higher growth rate than men's. So we want to continue diversifying to capture the women audience. So diversifying in terms of the products that we have catering to them, and diversifying in terms of our targeting for marketing related campaigns. And then secondly, diversification also means in terms of targeting, diba? We were so used to everyone knew Levi's, diba? Mga sorry to call it, diba? Mga titos, titas, they always, their go-to would be Levi's. But we wanted, of course, to really, I think, own the future or win in the future generations. That's why you heard earlier, diba? It's all about talking also to the Gen Zs and really future-proofing the business and making sure we position ourselves for success in the future. But again, that doesn't mean we're alienating our core target audience of the millennials and up, because Levi's is still a very broad reach brand. And then another way that we diversified was through digital. So digital transformation is not only, like for me in terms of the marketing role, but diversifying the way they shop, diversifying our entire business, no, the way we do business. And another thing that I call out is the innovation in our jeans, no. So we know that Levi's invented the blue jeans. So we say we are jeans, diba? Parang toothpaste, si Colgate. So when it comes to jeans, then that's Levi's, no. So innovation has always been inherent for us. If you look, the first innovation we did was adding the rivet to the Levi's jeans that was done by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis over 150 years ago, just to ensure quality and durability, because this was built for miners. So that same innovative spirit is still there now. That's why we continue to introduce different technologies, like I mentioned earlier, waterless. Here you have introducing different types of fabric innovation. So cottonized hemp, we have tencel, better cotton. So it's always keeping in mind the consumer and what their needs are. So for Levi's, we always say that we will emerge stronger. The brand is in a good place, no? So prior to the pandemic, we actually did a brand equity study here in the Philippines. This was done right before lockdown, Feb to March, and it told us that the Levi's brand is strong. There is high awareness, high consideration, and high purchase from our consumers. So we know if we continue doing what we have, which was putting our consumer at the forefront, really standing behind our values, and providing content, engaging with our consumers on what's important to them, then we have the power to survive another 150 years. I think that's one thing that we always tell ourselves. No, Levi's has been in the business for over 150 years. So imagine the pandemics we've been through, economic crisis, world wars, and we're still here. No, so it's really about pivoting, about adapting, about embracing change. And I think what I'll leave behind with you guys is it doesn't happen overnight, this transformation. It's hard, it's a bumpy road, but at least doing something about it is already taking the first step to the right direction. So that's it from me and from Levi's. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh gosh, Kat, that's great. Yes, I love my Levi's. We also we love our Levi's.
Yes.
Okay, at this point now, where we call back all the speakers, our panelists, and our chairwoman, Ms. Monette Eturalde Hamlin. So we can now give the certificate of appreciation. Okay, our first certificate of appreciation is presented to Ms. Yang Yang Zhang for sharing her invaluable time and expertise as speaker to the 34th PRA Virtual Learning Series.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
May we
being
have
here.
Ms. Monette also in the screen, please?
Yang Yang, as always, I learned so much from you. Thank you very much for gracing us today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, let's have a photo with Yang Yang. Okay, finished. All right, next we'd like to present the certificate of appreciation for Ms. Alpha Gracias Alaniki for sharing her invaluable time and expertise as speaker for the 34th PRA Virtual Learning Series. Okay, Ms. Alpha.
Thank you so much, Mylene, Monette, and this room.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have a photo. And then Monette with Monette.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alpha.
Yes, great. Okay, and next, let's present our certificate of appreciation for Miss Alexandra Natividad. Alex, of the Wedding Library.
Thank you so much, everyone. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Okay,
Thanks,
let's have a photo. Okay, and with Monette. All right. And finally, of course, Levi Strauss, Country Marketing Manager, Kat Costas. Kat?
Thank you, everyone. So I hope you're able to grab in some valuable insights from the session.
Okay, so a photo with Monette and, okay. All right, and now a photo with all the speakers, please. And the panelists. Okay, Alex, Alpha, and Yang Yang. Okay, Yang Yang. All right. Thank you.
Mylene, if I may
Thank you
just say
very-
something.
Okay, sure.
I'd like to thank our speakers. You are all role models for us women. Thank you for leading the charge, especially for showing how we can all pivot and do much better. I learned a lot, and I'm sure all of our participants did as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monette. Right. Okay, we're a little bit stretching with our time, but I hope it's okay with everyone because we do have a lot of questions, but we'll try our best to finish in about 10-15 minutes. I hope that's fine. All right. Okay. And again, we will have a raffle right after the question and answer. Okay, we do have a question for Yang Yang here from Chu Natividad. At what point is it worth investing in a chatbot? Okay, I think this is good for everyone because we have shown samples of the chatbot. Yang Yang?
I think in terms of the chatbot, I think it's really when the interest is overwhelming organic ability to answer, right? So I think ultimately it's really a choice of looking at how much it's going to cost you to continue to staff up more for customer service, for example, how much of the questions that you're getting are, repeat questions. And so I think that's really sort of where tech comes in when you start to see scale problems that can be solved using scalable solutions, right? So I think ultimately the choice is when you see that the questions start to repeat themselves, when it's going to cost less to invest in a chatbot than it is to actually hire people to answer the questions personally, I think it's definitely worth the investment.
Okay, because the question of Rafael Layosa is actually related to that. So Yang Yang, we will just continue with that line of thought. What's the advantage of having a chatbot versus hiring a community manager for a fashion retail? So I think, yeah.
I think they serve two very different purposes, right? So I think for the first one, for the chatbot itself, it's really so that customers have the ultimate convenience of experience. If they have a question in the middle of the night and you don't have anyone on call to answer it, they'll still be able to get an answer immediately. It will not hold them back from being able to take advantage of digital channels. On the flip side, having a community engagement manager is really about building that brand, right? It's about being able to make sure that your brand is growing and also to make sure that you're driving even more traffic to the site. So I would say that a chatbot is maybe a little bit better for a more mature business, and a community engagement manager is definitely like a necessary hire when you're just starting to build that traction.
Okay, thank you so much, Yang Yang. And next we have a question. I think this question should be answered by Kat, okay, because she spoke about this. How important is empathy, from Marian Lucero? How important is empathy in customer service during this time?
Very important. I think we know consumers have made their voices heard in terms of demanding from brands to be accountable during crisis. They actually look to brands to respond even quicker than government. And right now, especially this new generation of Gen Z shoppers, it's very important to them for you to stand for values, because values are also important to them in their own lives. Now, as you see, they're taking a lot of different passion projects and they expect the same from brands. So one of them, empathy, like you'll see from the examples I showed earlier, our response to the pandemic, we also gave like $3 million worth of philanthropic funds to support those who were heavily hit. We responded by providing face masks. Our employees also gave back, no? So what the employees donated, the company actually matched threefold. So these are just some examples by living what we preach, no? So it can't, again, just be all talk. It has to be something that you do. And I think in this day and age, no, everything has evolved, and marketing is not just marketing. It should be purpose-led marketing.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Kat. Now I'd like to direct this question to Alpha and to Alex. And the question came from Kate Barbosa. She's asking, when is the best time to create your own site aside from Shopee and Lazada account? Alpha?
Yeah, I think it's a better your site now while there is really a surge, in online presence. And you can start with a very simple website if that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, that's for me. There's there are, if you're on a scrimp for budget, then you can do a Wix. You can go to Wix and create your own website, so you can really do it on your own.
Okay, great. Okay, can you add into that? Chime in, Alex?
On our end, I think you have to consider also three things. So first is the budget. So when you create a website, you can't really expect people to visit it unless, of course, you have the budget for ads, for collaborations, for partnerships, endorsements. So it's really important that you have budget as compared to when you're part of a marketplace uh, who advertises the marketplace on their own, like Lazada and Shopee. They have their own ads, they have their own budget for it. So on our end, we also have a separate campaign for our, for our website to drive people to visit it. Apart from that, second is capability. So when we say that it's important to have online presence, it doesn't mean that you also have to be a part of all platforms and all social media mediums if you can't really manage it all. Because if you engage in everything, it may also affect the quality of your products or your customer service, which is why you also have to pinpoint if you can manage to have, to operate and to have your own website. And third, lastly, is of course the number of online conversions that you actually get, because when you do launch a website, it actually also has a lot of fees like plan, and sometimes like for Shopify, when the customer pays via PayPal has a charge, and Shopify also has a charge when your customer pays via PayPal. So you really need to compute everything and to make sure that you have enough online sales to actually carry that cost for your shop.
Thank you. All right, now let's, okay, we do have, if you have any other questions, please share it with the PRA Secretariat, or you can just text or email womenbiz.ph. Okay, because we're running out of time and we do have a raffle coming up. And now let's now have the speaker give your last words before we close for a raffle. Yang, let's start with you.
Sure. I think for me, it was a pleasure being here. I think that in general, for me, what I would encourage everyone to explore at least is to look at how digital transformation can help scale your business. I think we've heard from a lot of really intelligent women here today about how they've been able to do that in their own businesses. And I feel like no matter the size of the business, whether it is, an SME, whether it's enterprise, I think you can always benefit from investigating new channels of customer acquisition and also for payment collection. So I'm definitely excited for what lies next for e-commerce in the Philippines.
Thank you, Yang, and thank you for staying up till 4 in the morning. Thank you. All right, let's move on to Alpha. Words of thought. You're on mute.
Hi, thank you again for having me here. I guess what I wanted to say is that you have to have that appetite to learn fast, fail fast, and scale fast. But you can only do that when you know your why. And then you can already think of how to do it when you know your very basic question of why you are.
Thank you, Alpha. All right, Alex.
Hi, thank you so much. On our end, we just want to say thank you to PRA and also to Women's Biz for this platform, and to all the participants here to be open to change, because actually what's happening, it's also good for your company that you have a good online presence now, or you're trying to shift and trying to learn by being here in this learning session. And for brands here who are still looking for or wondering what they should do online, it's more of really just trying to pinpoint what sets you apart, or at least create what would set you apart online, and to try to communicate that to your customers meaningfully and effectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Okay, and let's go move on to cats.
Yep. For me, I think don't be afraid. Be brave to pivot, to really take on the transformations. I think resilience has been a keyword for the past year. No, so yes, there will be some hiccups. You will fall down, but again, it's learning from that. It's rising back up and doing things better. So as long as you know your consumer, you know your brand well, then you are already setting yourself up for success.
Thank you. All right, we had a insightful afternoon, and now it's time for us to give tokens to raffle winners. And Ivan, let's move on to the raffle. So let's show the raffle prizes. Yes, the first 5 raffle winners will be receiving a beach towel from Levi's. Please send us your home address and your mobile number. We will send it to you. Okay, and our first 5 winners. Let's have Kat call on the 5 winners, please. Okay, Kat, do the honors.
All right, so congratulations to the first winner, Miss Aya Ocampo. Hope you enjoy your Levi's beach towel at home or when you go out. So exciting. Okay, second winner, Raquel Kidato. Am I pronouncing that right? Kidato, yes.
Okay, that's 2. We need 3 more. Okay. So aren't you glad that you registered for this learning series? Okay. So our third raffle winner for the beach towel.
Congratulations, Maria Leia Hoxon.
Okay, 2 more for the Levi's beach towel.
Fourth winner, John Carlo Pabalate.
Okay. 1 more for the Levi's beach towel. That's so important now because it's summer, so everyone who gets a chance to go to the beach can use it.
And lastly, Miss Leslie Ann Chipeco. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. Okay, and next, let's the next raffle prize. The next raffle prizes after the beach towels are 3 pieces tumblers from United Neon. All right. Okay, Alpha has the meeting, so I will announce the winners. She had to, yeah. Okay. Right, so we're now raffling off 3 tumblers from United Neon. So these prizes will be sent to your homes. Our first winner for the tumbler is Rose Canyo. Congratulations, Rose. Okay. So again, we're raffling off United Neon tumblers. 2 more. Okay, congratulations, Jenny Duave. You have won yourself a tumbler from United Neon. And our last winner for the tumbler from United Neon goes to Arsenia De Leon. Congratulations, Arsenia. Okay. All right. Okay, all right. I'll have Yang Yang. This is from me. These are Lego stationery sets. Yang Yang, can you please announce the winners for the Lego stationery sets from me, Delta Multimedia?
First winner is John Paulo Mendoza.
Congratulations. Yes. A little plug is that our company is the exclusive distributor of Lego education in the Philippines.
Our second winner is Joanna Fidulo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Congratulations. And our third winner is Michelle Barrientos. Also,
Congratulations. Okay, and then our grand prize, maybe ask Alex. Alex, please announce the grand prize, which is from me. A Lego Star Wars watch.
Congratulations to our grand prize winner, Catherine Maclang. Yay, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, I believe that's all. Am I right, Bing? Ivan? Yes, it's all the prizes we have. Yes, congratulations to everyone, all the winners of the raffle prizes. But I'd like to just make a short announcement that for those who would like to have a copy of the ebook published by the Women's Business Council Philippines, it's called I Am Woman, a gender-responsive guide for business and corporate leaders. So it's a user-friendly book about being gender-responsive. And what does it include? It includes articles and case studies about Magna Carta of Women. We do have rights. And then inclusive leadership, corporate communication, and with gender lens, gender-responsive marketplace and supply chain, corporate policy review and gender mainstreaming, and the Safe Space Act, or the Anti-Harassment Act. So please, if you would like to have a copy, this will be coming out in August this year. And we do have webinars coming up with regards to these topics. Hey. And we'd like, again, as Rose has mentioned, invite all our members of the Philippine Retail Association to the 27th National Retail Conference and Stores Asia Expo 2021 to be happening on August 12th to the 13th. So please do go to www.nrxe-ph.com and register yourself. So with that, we'd like to also announce the next activity of PRA is the Recalibrating Retail CX in the new normal with digital technologies. So we have the speakers, and this is happening on June 2, and that's next week at 2 o'clock. So please do register. And we have a lot of activities for PRA. Maximizing productivity through human-centric workplaces for retailers. And this will be on June 9 at 2 o'clock. So please do register as well. And accelerate e-commerce growth to bounce back and staying ahead of the retail curve to be happening on June 30th at 2 o'clock. And we do have a learning investment at 1495 for PRA members and 1995 for non-members. Okay, so with that, we'd like to thank in behalf of the Philippine Retailers Association and the Women's Business Council Philippines. Thank you so much for spending your time, and we do hope that you have learned a lot in this learning series. And we stay safe, God bless, and mabuhay.